Hey guys, I'm S. Wolf. Welcome back to the channel. Fun little build today. Leaf didn't say that I could just go like completely buck wild on, like Disney level theming or, anything like that. But he did say that he would like to see like a swampy type of North American area to go along with the black bear area that I did. And I'm getting ready to actually turn the park back over to him today. I'm gonna put some animals in, maybe get some alligators in and get some tortoises in, maybe even some of his that he's helped bring to the game. But nonetheless, this was a fun little area to work on. It actually started out, and what you'll see for the first little bit of the time lapse, started out a lot more modern than what it ended up being. And I think the reason being is because going to Zoo Knoxville yesterday and seeing their new Arc Center, their huge new glassed-in, really awesome reptile center, I was kind of still running a little high off that, and I thought, let's try something a little more modern than I normally do. And I think that this idea, this design will come back to me at some point. But I think for the intent of Leaf and bringing me in was to give a little more of that thematic pop, a little bit more higher budget type of theming, and I think that is kind of what made me change my mind on this initial concept I was working on. None of this ends up staying but the backstage area, and I was able to bring in two really blueprints that I'm fond of in Beyond Wolf Nature Preserve, which, if you guys haven't caught up with that, that is a separate swamp build that Beyond Drew and I are working on. And so I brought in some iterations of Bold's Landing and Mass Bandit's dump building that hasn't really totally been fleshed out yet. And I just thought it worked out. I mean, I was just thinking, like, going through the blueprints, I'm like, well, wait a minute, this is perfect to utilize these again in a swamp build. And so that's what we ended up doing. See, I was even thinking about leaving the modern section there for a minute, and I'm like, no, if we're gonna go with the swamp building theme, we got to go all the way. I don't really think it would look right mixing that modern Arc type aesthetic to, these kind of shanty little swamp buildings, kind of like, the thought of it is they build these with like things that come floating by or things that are found in the swamp. And I even brought in my old Ennis, Montana trading outpost building. And, obviously just looking through my old blueprints, I was like, that would look really good, kind of anchoring the top of the waterfalls in the black bear exhibit. And so just really kind of focusing on the swamp build particularly, I ended up finding my old fishing shack, my old fishing building and trade depot. So that makes an appearance in Foxborough now as well. And like I said, really fun build. I haven't had it for very long. Of course, you guys know we've been building on all kinds of stuff, the resort pools, and just, we've just been going crazy lately with all types of different builds. The Terra Nova streak that I went on there for about a week. So yeah, we did not have a whole lot of time to mess in Foxborough, but with what we were able to do, I think you guys are going to really like it. I think Leaf is going to really appreciate it because this is a really funky little cool themed out zoo. I really like his African penguin section. I'm not going to show you much of his part just because I don't know what he's ready to show yet and what he's not, but we'll jump into the real time here in just a few minutes and at least let you guys see kind of what I did with the railroad track and kind of like butting up against the swamp area. He totally laid down the railroad track. That was already pre-built and ready to go. The only thing I've done was theme around it. So, but yeah, it was pretty cool just being kind of, rehearsed and very, I've got a lot of experience over the last, 6 or 7 months with the swamp build with Beyond Wolf, and I think it just really helped kind of expedite the design process with Foxborough, because I told him I would have it turned back in today. And as usual, like I procrastinated like up until Saturday night at 11 o'clock. Like I was editing the Zoo Knoxville vlog and like playing this at the same time. So you know, I just thought this was a fun little turn to take Foxborough on, and now it kind of gives him another element, like another biome that he can show off here. So that was a really fun part of this. We do some little retaining walls here to kind of just make it look like, you know, it's just shoring up the like the railroad trestle here, and we do another spot up here on the back side of this to kind of hold the hill back. Could, you know, make it look like maybe they've had issues before with maybe some erosion or some slippage and just the, you know, the bogginess and the swamp water here. But yeah, just like I said, really fun build. Really glad Leaf let me jump in and have this for a few days, and hopefully we'll come back. Maybe we'll come back and come up with some new ideas later on once he fleshes out some more of this. I love theming around railroad tracks in this game. It's just really like it makes me feel like a little 3D model builder or something. Like what was the thing that Drew always tells us to? Drew always tells us to look up concept art for these little bar mills. Yeah, if you guys haven't looked up bar mills, Google that, or do like bar mills train buildings. And every time I get around these train tracks, like these little ideas, these little bar mill ideas always pop up, and I can't help it. I love theming in this game around railroad tracks. And you would think I would have more trains and little tracks and stuff in my zoos, but I typically don't. I don't know. I guess it just, if other people do it, I'll theme around it. I just never really come up with a good, I guess I never come up with a good actual track layout, it seems, in my zoos. But with Leaf, like I said, already kind of laying this out for us, I was able to just go to town with it. And you know, that whole hill was just going to be a plain hill. This is where I bring in one of my blueprints, and I plopped it down right there, and I'm like, this fits freaking perfect at the bend of this track. And yep, so that's kind of what we rolled with. Now we're about to jump into the real time, so what I'm gonna show you does not have any of the animals in it yet. So I think I'm gonna try to, once we get this recording done and it goes live, I'm gonna spend a good part of the rest of the day actually getting him some exhibits in here, and some tortoise exhibits and stuff like that. And like I said, probably get the alligators in here, and at least, you know, have something here. I know Lion Rider's probably rolling his eyes right now. Have some animals to look at. Like, are there going to be any animals in your animal park? So we'll definitely get some animals in here for old Leaf. And yeah, so hold on one sec. We'll go ahead and jump out of this time lapse real quick and let you jump in and see what we've come up with. So hold on one sec for me. Alright guys, so here we are. This is the little, kind of like the little starting area that I've kind of messed with. And of course, you know, Leaf has kind of stopped right here on this little edge. And the I think the planters and the little picnic tables and stuff kind of looking out over into the swamp area are going to be really cool. And of course, I'm going to come in and I will get this kind of all themed out, and maybe even take the water out and make this more of a beach area. And people may even be able to sit here and actually look over at the gators. And then yeah, we just kind of themed this out really swamp-like, really like the overgrowth kind of look, but keeping the overgrowth off of the track as much as possible. And then we've got like the accompanying little themed buildings here. Just worked out really cool. Hung some moss from the hung some Spanish moss from the Brazilian nut trees, and those give off a really cool little swampy vibe, don't they? Just by adding some of that. I think looked really cool. Casey was even down here while I was building this, and she's like, you need to add some of that Spanish moss. You need to add some moss to those trees. They look too, like, they don't look as, like, they look too bright for a zoo right now, or for a swamp area. And I was like, you know, they could look a little more more wet, a little more kind of like grimy almost, is almost the word. I mean, I guess not grimy, but they just, without that moss, they don't really, they didn't convey that swamp feeling really, really well. And I just think that matched in with the building swamp. It just turned out really, really cool. And these people taking this train ride, isn't this going to be an awesome little area for them to come through? And see, they'll be able to look over the edge down onto the gators or whatever I have over here. And then, of course, on the back side, we've got the Foxborough Trade Depot. So we've got our little black bears down here. And the train comes by this little area as well, and then kind of transitions over into the swamp. It's pretty seamless, but it ended up working out pretty good. Check on our little guy down here. I've got a couple of them in here. Taking a nap by the pond. So Leaf actually already had this little section laid out for our little bears, and I come in and put him way, way over budget on this whole entire area. But I think that is kind of what I was saying. That is the risk you take by bringing SDAN in on a project. Your budget is going to be thrown out the window, but I think you just kind of have to know what you're getting into with me. So don't ask if you don't want, if you don't want this to happen to your zoo. If you're really wanting to keep that, kind of really, really realistic budget theme going, probably want to pass me on by, because I just can't help myself. This is just kind of how it goes down. I love Leaf's little, kind of like this little bog area over here as well. See how the water's kind of drained down, kind of going over the railroad, like the trestle here. I thought that was awesome. Has a little camp out site up here. Really, really fun. Even has a little swamp, kind of like a little swamp area over here with his little ducks. So stinking fun. And then, kind of incorporating up here further into the swamp area is old SDAN's little part. Let's see what this looks like in the late evening. This looks cool. Yeah. Oh, look at those. Look at the moss kind of hanging down from the trees there. I'm gonna have to get an Instagram post for that. That looks too freaking cool. So yeah, guys, I guess what I'll do is I am going to get out of here and quit running my mouth, because I've got some more building to do. I have to finish this out and get this back to him. So, but anyways, nonetheless, thanks for stopping by and hanging out with me, guys, and thanks for stopping by and checking out Leaf's Foxborough. Don't forget to go to his channel and subscribe and keep up with all of this with this mischief that he'll be continuing with this. And yeah, really, really fun little project to work on. Big thanks to Leaf for letting me get in here and try this out. So don't forget to smash the like button if you end up enjoying this video, and subscribe to keep up with some more of this Planet Zoo mischief. And yeah, I will catch you guys in the next video. Thank you. See ya.